The next session will be a great discussion on empowering local production, driving growth in the GCC pharmaceutical manufacturing. To lead this session, I would like to invite to the stage Dr. Rima Nsheiwat. I hope I said that right. She is a regulatory access and market intelligence consultant, seasoned professional with over 20 years of experience guiding pharmaceutical and medical device companies through the complex regulatory landscapes of the MENA and Europe regions. Please help me welcome to the stage Dr. Rima. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you had a good lunch, and it's time for some digestive vitamins and interactive session. As Kate said, this session will be about the empowering of local production. We will discuss the driving growth in GCC's pharmaceutical manufacturing. I was telling you that this session is a very interactive, practical, strategic session. It will give us direction of the local production in general, and then about the biosimilar, which is the new trend now. So please join me in welcoming the first speaker with us, Dr. Rawya Kredly. Dr. Rawya is a clinical pharmacist with a broad medical and pharmaceutical knowledge. She's experienced in different aspects of the pharmaceutical industry, especially medical affairs, regulatory affairs, and pharmacovigilance, as well as knowledge and experience in the research field. She has a master's degree of clinical pharmacy with distinction from Queen's University in UK. Dr. Rawya began her career at Hikma Pharmaceutical in Jordan since 1998 till 1999, and she is currently the Regulatory Affairs and Medical Affairs Director at Julphar. In her role as Regulatory Affairs, she displays and actions leadership in all aspects of regulatory affairs for company product portfolio of generics and novel products, including product development and submission. She's also an expert in defining the strategic regulatory direction for pipelines development and global launch excellences for a significant dedication R&D budget. In addition, Dr. Rawya is knowledgeable of partnering with R&D and global strategy marketing leaders as well another function leaders to develop and implement strategy for pipeline development and global launch excellences. So, Dr. Rawya, you can come. Before I give the mic to Dr. Rawya, I'm very delighted to invite our superstar regulatory panelist for today. I will start with the famous Dr. Hanan Sboul. Dr. Hanan is currently the Secretary General of the Jordan Association of Pharmaceutical Manufacturers, JAPM. Dr. Hanan, she has an MBA and a Bachelor of Pharmacy. She's now the Secretary General of the Jordan Association of Pharmaceutical Manufacturers, a member of the Hashemite University Board of Trustees, group lead of pharmaceutical industry, as part of the national team responsible for developing Jordan Economic Modernization Vision 2023 to 2033, the Vice Chair of the Steering Committee for the Jordan Pharmaceutical Center of Excellences, a member of the USP Council of Convention for 2020-2025 cycle, the Chair of the USP Convention Membership Committee, and the Chair of the USP MENA Region Chapter. Also, Dr. Hanan served as a member of the Higher Education Council 2018 to 2021 and a member of the board of JFDA, Jordan Food and Drug Administration 2018 to 2023, and a member of the Higher Committee for Drug and Pharmacy 2010 to 2018. She was also a member of the Fund for Employment, Technical, Vocational and Training, a member of the Scientific Research Support Fund, Jordan University of Science and Technology Council, Council of the Pharma School at Jordan University and Council of Pharma School at Jordan University of Science and Technology. And internationally, she was the chair of the International Generics and Biosimilar Medicine Association, IGBA, in 2020. In her current and previous roles, Dr. Sboul is actively engaged in enhancing the regulatory landscape for pharmaceutical to improve access to quality, safe and effective medicine. Before joining JAPM, she worked at JFDA as a registration and pricing officer for more than 10 years. I think this is enough. Yes, I can go and go more and more. So yes, Dr. Hanan, you can join for the panelists. And also from, I wanted to talk more about it, but and also from the Jordan FDA, proudly from the JFDA, the Jordan FDA, we have Dr. Sawsan Shahin. Dr. Sawsan Shahin, she's a passionate pharmaceutical regulatory specialist. She has an over of 15 years of experience dedicated to advancing healthcare and ensuring the safety of medicine. She has a master's degree in pharmaceutical science and a strong academic background. I can guarantee she was with me at the university. She was the A-top student. She spent her career at an intersection of research and development, regulation and innovation, which make it a very enriched CV. Currently, she works with the Jordan FDA, where she plays a key role in evaluating and approving drugs, ensuring they meet the highest standard of quality and safety. Her journey took her from formulating pharmaceutical products to teaching the next generation of pharmacists, and now to shaping regulatory policies that impact millions. Also, she ventured into entrepreneurship and innovation health solution that won national recognition. You can join Dr. Sawsan. I'll give back the mic to our distinguished speaker. Dr. Rawya will be, we will navigate with her the barrier and how to overcome the challenges of biosimilar localization, yes, which I'm sure from your experience, you can just enrich our knowledge and put us as a start for the panel discussion afterwards.
Sure. Thank you so much for the nice welcome. So good evening, good afternoon, and salam alaikum to all. And on behalf of Julphar, first of all, I would like to welcome you all. And I would like to thank the organizers, the PRA, of course, Dr. Muna, Dr. Najiba, for their impressive organization of this event where all that number of healthcare professionals are under the same roof. We are pleased, we are delighted actually to be here today together. Needless to say that we are so proud and honored to be in the presence of the delegates from the respected health authorities from different countries in our region. So my name is Rawya Kredly, and I'm the Medical and Regulatory Affairs Director in Julphar. And for the coming 15 to 20 minutes, I'm going to speak about the localization of biosimilars. In fact, for the last 2 years, I've been speaking in the GCC for the concept of the localization and the rationale for the localization, but I found that it is more rational now to speak about the biosimilars. Why? Because the biosimilars are not only the hot topic in the UAE, it's not only in the GCC, it's not only in the MENA region, it's actually all over the world, the biosimilar topic. I'm going to speak in brief about the biosimilar itself in few words, actually. Why do we need it? Who will be benefiting? And what about the market share of biosimilars in different countries? Are they moving? Is there an aspiration for more? And how do we compare it with the market share of biosimilars in our region? And before jumping to the action plan, we will have a look at the market drivers and the constraints that might be faced in order to be accommodated in our action plan to make it more practical, more doable and achievable at the same time. A focus on the UAE because we are short in time, conscious of time. I'm only going to speak about the UAE, though we have many other countries to speak about, and then with the conclusion. Biosimilars, as you all know, as many doctors have elaborated, they are, as you all know, safe, effective, and cost-effective alternatives for the biologicals. And why do we need biologicals? Because our population is aging, and this has been also mentioned before. Our population is getting older, and with age, the chronic diseases will be there. Chronic diseases means biologicals. Biological means expensive. It means that not only all our population, our chronic patients will be covered by the biologicals. And that's exactly why the biosimilars is a necessity for our region. So, who will be benefiting? The question is, who will not be benefiting? Starting with the patients, improved outcomes for the patients, of course, improved outcomes. There will be biosimilars, different biosimilars in the market. In addition to the biological, there will be the different treatment options for the healthcare professionals. With that, there will be the market competition, which will drive also the benefit of the patient, and there will be cost saving for the government. This all will be triggering the healthcare system, a better one, and a better delivery of the healthcare system in the country. Moving forward, whom do you think the region in the world that is a big fan of biosimilars, and they are using the biosimilars? Which continent, which group of countries? Is it the Middle East? Is it the US? Is it the Asia Pacific? India, China, Australia, the 47 countries? Is it the EU? Whom do you think the countries that use the biosimilars more or the most? Let me ask this. What do you think? Give it a try. Which countries? Sorry? The US. So Dr. Nadia is saying the US. Do you agree the US is the country that use the biosimilars more? Europe. Okay. So as per this, EU is the group of countries that are the big fans, and they have the biggest market share for the biosimilars. So it's the Europe, the EU, followed by the Asia Pacific with the 28%, followed by the North American countries, followed by the Latin America, Middle East, and CIS countries. It's like a 5% for each. So we are there, yes, we are there. The question, Europe is the countries that are using the biological more. Despite this fact, despite they are using the biological a lot, what is the percentage of using the biological, the biosimilar versus the innovator? 50-50, 10-90, 50-50, no. It's like 23% goes for the biosimilar and 77% goes for the innovator biological. Are they happy with this? No, certainly not. And how do we compare to them? I will show you now in a minute. But hold that number. It's 23% in the EU. Now, what is the vision for the biosimilars? As you can see here, between the 2 years of 2023 and 2028, we have a CAGR of 17.8%. The CAGR, as you all know, is the cumulative annual growth rate. It means that in 5 years period, every year, you will be having a growth rate of 17.8. So 17.8 for 5 years. So as you can see, the number here, the $29 billion will be $66 billion in 2028. And it's a big figure. And now you might be wondering, is this gonna stay there? 17.8 is a big figure. Are we going to go up? Are we going to slow down? Are we going in a plateau? What do you think? Now, the aspiration is high because, again, it goes for the favor of the patients and the government together. So the aspirations as high. You remember the 66 billion figure now in 2028. Now, for the future, you can add 5 years more. This is the strategic plans now for the biosimilars. And look at that. In 2023, the 66 billion will be $150 billion. it means that the CAGR will stay the same. The growth rate every year will be between like 17, 18%. And this is huge. Now, just for your benefit, for business development purposes, which product do you think it will grow the most? This is an opportunity now for the localization. Which product will grow the most? What is the most chronic diseases in our region? Thank you, it's the diabetes. So insulin, the analogs, especially the insulin, will be the fastest growing. And what is the segment that will be fastest growing? It's the complication of diabetes, which is the chronic renal failure, which is to be treated by the erythropoietin hormone. So insulin and erythropoietin are going to grow in a fast way. Okay, how do we compare to that? In the Middle East, because we are here today to speak about our region, our countries that we are interested in. Compared to those figures, what is the growth rate in our region? What do you think? Are we going the same speed? Are we going in a lower speed? What do you think? Higher. We are going in a higher speed. What do you think? Are we doing a good job in biosimilars? What do you think? Are we doing a good job in biosimilars? Okay, let's have a look at that. Now, when it comes to growth, the CAGR, you can see that our growth is 17%, not bad. It's similar to those in Europe, in the US, and the Asia-Pacific countries. But the question, is this growth enough for our region? Why am I asking that? Because please have a look at the starting point of which we are starting. The biosimilars prescription represent, or the market share, 1% only of the biological. It means that out of 100 prescriptions, 99 will go for the innovator and only 1 will go for the biosimilar. So no matter how fast we were, look at this. In the year, between the years of 2018 and 2022, 5 years, the CAGR went 17%. We only transferred from 3.6 to 6.6, and the 1 has been converted to 4%. And please remind me, what was the percentage in the EU that I started the presentation with? It's 23. Thank you so much. So in our region, 4% of our prescriptions only goes for the biosimilar. So are we doing a good job? It means that we are still lagging. So what is the catch behind it? We have to grow faster than the world. The world is moving by 17 to 18%. We have to grow faster than this. So this will necessitate an action plan in place. Now, in order to put a practical, a doable, a realistic action plan, let's remind ourselves with what are the drivers, what are the leverage or the points that we can make use of, and what are the constraints that we need to address in order to have our action plans in place. Our growth drivers, as we said, we have the market, we will be saving the money, but above all, we will be getting the support from the government because, again, as I said, the governments will be a winner in this situation. And please remember that the patents are getting expired. Exclusivity, it's being expired. I remember that I read something in the EU from 20 to 25, 17 blockbusters, biological innovation, the innovators, they have lost their exclusivity. And in the coming 5 years, from 2025 until 2030, more than that number of blockbusters will be also losing the patents and the exclusivity. So we have to take that chance. About the constraints, of course, it's the money. It's always about the money. It's very expensive. We need to have a lot of investment. We need technical expertise. We need clinical trial capabilities. So in order to be able to localize our biosimilars, we have to work on our capabilities related to the clinical trials. And that's why I was so happy in the morning when Dr. Hanadi was sharing about the EDE having the clinical trials initiatives and different tests for that. Regulatory obstacles. I will show you now in a minute that we have different guidelines in different countries. In some countries, the guidelines are clear. In some other countries, it is still not yet in place, and I wish that we can go for a harmonization. The next concerns is the manufacturing and the analytical challenges. Imagine now we have biosimilars in the market, but when I want to release my biosimilar to the market, I need to do a bioassay. Do we have bioassay centers in our region? For Julphar, we have the biosimilars, and guess what? When we want to do a bioassay, we send it to Germany, which is time-consuming and it's very expensive as well. So if we want to think localization, we have to think testing as well in order to have all that circle closed. The last point, which is also very important, the limited understanding and acceptance. By whom? By whom? It's by the patients, not only by the patients, the healthcare professionals. You know, sometimes I hear questions from the doctors, from the physicians. They are questioning the effectiveness and the safety of the biosimilars, which is not the case in other countries in Europe, in the US. They're not questioning that. So it means that they need some education. We need to do some awareness for them. Let's move now to the action plan and talk about the pillars for the action plan. We have to enhance 4 pillars now: approvability, acceptability, accessibility, and last one, affordability. If we want to speak about the approvability, we have to do now with the health authorities. And again, some countries, as you can see in this map, some countries, they have very well-established guidelines, like the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, like the United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Egypt, recently also Oman. Last year also they released their guidelines for the biologicals and the biosimilars. Tunisia also, they have some guidelines. Algeria only last year also we have some of them. So we can see that there's no balance in the guidelines between the different countries. So I wish that we can do something about it, and it has to be put in the plans. Moreover, when I spoke about the biosimilars, again, biosimilars means clinical trials. It means good assessment. Now, for the biosimilars, what's the difference between the RMP, the innovator, the RMP, and the biosimilar? The biosimilar need more rigorous analytical assessment, meaning that we need comparability study, physical ones, the chemical ones, the sequence of the proteins, the primary structure, secondary, third, and higher order structure as well. We need to have such centers in our region in order to be able to qualify our biosimilars. Similarly, going for the PKPD study, the phase 1 and the phase 3 studies as well. And by the way, you know, now the world, or the Western, let us say, world, they have a lot of these centers, but still they are inviting the investors to go and invest more, because in those regions, the growth rate will be going higher, and they are asking their governments and their investors to go and invest more. So we have to take this lesson now and start with these centers in our region. Moving for the second pillar for the action plan, which is the acceptability. Acceptability, we have to work with the healthcare professionals, including the doctors and also the pharmacists. And now the doctor will be coming saying that, do I have the right? Do I have the legal right to switch my patient from an innovator to a biosimilar? This is one question. He's questioning the switching. Now, the pharmacist will be wondering, as a pharmacist, do I have the right, the legal right, to do a substitution for the prescription? If I received a prescription for the innovator, can I substitute it with a biosimilar? Or if I have one biosimilar, can I substitute it with another biosimilar? So these 2 points, the switching and the substitution, this is exactly the definition of the interchangeability, the one in yellow. And the interchangeability is the key for the accessibility. So that's why now we have to work at the level of the healthcare professionals in order to educate them raise the awareness about the quality of the biosimilars. Now, we need to stop for a moment to check the accessibility status in our region. Now, in a study that has been done among the GCC countries, some of them, not all of them, Qatar, UAE, Saudi, and Kuwait and Oman, they were assessing different aspects: the prescription guidelines, switching, INN prescribing, and the education. Across these countries, they are saying, or the recommendation of this, by the way, it was a study back in 2022, and recently the paper has been published. They said that the policies for the accessibility is not here available in all countries. Except for few countries like the UAE and Saudi, they have published prescription guidelines to be given to the healthcare professionals to help them in their decision. Similarly, the education was given on the ground in the UAE and in Saudi, in addition to Qatar. Now, when it comes to switching, you can see here that
Rawya,
Saudi...
we have 2 minutes.
2 minutes, yes. So in Saudi and Kuwait, they have now the mandatory switching. And I guess this came after the mandatory switching that came from EMA last year. EMA last year, they approved the switching of the biosimilars. Except for that, they are saying that still we also need to approach the pharmacist and approach the patients in order to educate them about the biosimilars. Affordability, we have to make all our efforts to minimize the prices of biosimilars because this is the idea behind them. You need to minimize the cost. One point I did not mention at the beginning because I didn't want to start on a negative note, that the world is using 30% of their medicine as biological. Rephrase it, 30% of the medicines in the world are biological. In our region, it's 15. Why? Because we cannot afford it. What about the patients? They are deprived of the biologicals because of the price. So that's why the mortality and the morbidity rate in our region is going high, and that's why we have to move. I'm only focusing on the UAE conscious of time. As you can see, the UAE has a 19% use of biological, significantly better than the other countries in the region, but still we have a gap and we need to address it. And that's why the governments of the UAE, they have moved quickly in order to position the UAE as the regional biopharmaceutical hub, as the EDE mentioned in the morning, and they are that. They were spending, or the UAE has been spending $96 million on the biosimilars, and guess what? They will be spending 5-folds that in 2030 as per the vision coming from Abu Dhabi. And the CAGR is more than 17. The CAGR is 23.2. So until that year, there will be a increase, the growth rate of 23%, which is huge on that. Recently, the UAE was able to localize, to register and localize the analogs for insulin analogs, including the glargine, aspart, and the aspart mix as well. Similarly, before that, the UAE has been the pioneer in the production and exportation of the human insulin and erythropoietin as well. Having said that, I would just like to conclude my short presentation for today with having or quoting the vision coming from Abu Dhabi in 2030, where we are saying that the pharmaceutical industries and the GCC is entering a new era. It is not only evolving, it is actually transforming in a way, in a positive way that will be having the long-lasting impact on the patients. Because, as the doctor said in the morning, that the ultimate goal is always the patients, is always the well-being of the population in the UAE, be it residents or citizens. So having said that, I would like to thank you for listening, and I wish you all the
Thank you.
best. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rawya. Thank you. Thank you for this presentation. We will come back to the biosimilar topic at the end of this panelist panel. I was just thinking, Dr. Hanan, I'll start with you. Since you've been in different strategy groups related to the country investment on a regional level, international, and even local level, what do you think, from your perspective, are the challenges that are facing the localization decision or the localization projects in general in the region?
Thank you, Dr. Rima. It is my great pleasure to be one of the panelists in this session. And thank you for inviting me and having me today. This is a key question, actually. And we know that localization and strengthening and fostering local pharmaceutical industry is one of the key objectives for most, if not all, the countries in the region. And this is a highly regulated industry. So regulatory challenges come at the top of the challenges facing this sector. And I'll be talking about 5 or 6 key challenges. I'll start with the regulatory one. Being a highly regulated industry needs to know and have a clear regulatory pathway. What are the requirements? What's expected once you develop a pharmaceutical product? So before the development, you need to know the requirements and develop the product accordingly. Lack of clear regulatory pathway, lack of clarity when it comes to the requirements is a huge challenge. And the second one, once you know the requirements, you apply for registration, and there is a huge backlog. There is a long time lapsed between the submission until the product makes it, gets the approval. And this is another challenge the industry needs to face and deal with. Then the product is approved in the country of origin, no matter which country is this, and the company starts navigating regulatory requirements in export markets. And they are divergent, different. Bioequivalence is required in one country. The product is biowaived in another country based on class 1 or class 3. Biosimilar product in one country, head-to-head clinical comparability is required. In another country, you just need to prove similarity based on quality attributes. So how can you develop one product to different markets? That's a huge challenge. You make that, you navigate, you get the product approved, you come to the pricing. You get a very low price in a country whereby the product is not feasible. You can't keep that registration and export to that market, so you start navigating, where is it feasible, where can I export? And this affects the portfolio of the products. Most of the industry in the region, they have a wide portfolio. Managing the portfolio, and it's not only to get it registered, then you have to start the life cycle of the product, navigating the post-approval changes requirements. So this is a huge challenge, the price. And sometimes it's not predictable. You go through the whole process to be surprised by what price you are getting for the product. So predictability, and one more issue is stability of the prices. You get a good price, you launch the product, a few months later, the price is reduced. There is a continuous pressure. Price erosions is a huge challenge that the industry is facing. Third one is operational. Most of the industry imports API and some packaging material from abroad. Where to source? The quality? How can you check and validate and make sure you get a good product? You get that. Disruption of supply chain. Since COVID, it's not been back to normal yet. And let alone the cost of shipping and insurance, and for so many reasons, supply chain has been disrupted and not back to normal. And this is another challenge. And if you look at the quantities, we ask suppliers to provide us with small quantities. So we're not on the priority. They give the priority to the bigger shipments and orders. And then coming to a very important challenge, and this is intellectual property. In many times, the IP regulations or the environment is not balanced. I am coming from mainly generic, but not only generic industry. Jordanian pharmaceutical industry has been very well established, and we do have innovative products also, not only generics, mainly generics, yes. But so I'm not against innovation at all. I am supporting innovation, but I am explaining for localization, a local industry in this region, they are mainly generics. If you look at IP regime and regulations, first of all, in many countries, there are no flexibilities. And if we look at TRIPS, which is the international treaty addressing IP issues, a lot of flexibilities are in TRIPS agreement, just to make sure that access to health is guaranteed and achieved. So lack of balanced IP regime is a huge challenge, and lack of knowledge among industry and even regulatory authorities and IP offices on IP issues, it's not yet mature enough, and there is a lot to be done in this area. Now, we understand IP. We want to not infringe on IP rights. We need to know what is protected, what is patented. Lack of patent and IP data that is accurate, searchable, up to date is a huge challenge. Sometimes companies, they find themselves infringing because information was not there at the beginning. So regulations, laws and regulations should be in place, flexibilities should be in place, and data, IP data, should be accurate and accessible. Finance, access to finance, capital, and technology, the know-how is a huge challenge facing industry as well, because in many cases, we get the know-how from licensors. So how to negotiate the deals, how to get the best technology from outside the country, this is very important. And last but not least, this is a challenge facing industries in small markets like Jordan. So it might not be the case for all the pharmaceutical industry in the region, but for Jordan specifically, it's a small market. So existing as an industry in a small market whereby export markets are going towards localization, and localization in its implementation means a block entry, a block the export from outside the country. And honestly, if you look at the economic aspect of industry for the country, it's good to have a healthy environment whereby import and export are enabled, because this creates more jobs locally in the country, and it's good for the currency. It stabilizes the currency as well. So I personally, I might sound biased, but protecting the industry is not by closing the borders and preventing exportation of pharmaceuticals. I can speak on every one of those challenges for hours, because I think what's good of such events, platform for discussion, but I hope that at the end we can come up with some recommendations that can help us in addressing those challenges and foster local industry, local pharmaceutical industry in this part of the world. Thank you for the question again.
Thank you. I think whenever we talk about challenges, we have also to think about the opportunities that comes with these challenges. And I know that in Jordan, with the JFDA, they started to support. They already are supporting the local manufacturing, but they started with the regulatory framework. So now I'll give my question to Dr. Sawsan. I hope you will give us some good news, exclusive good news that are related to how the authority, or like a models or a cases, or from regulatory perspective in which JFDA are supporting the localization and the local manufacturing, at least in Jordan.
First of all, good afternoon. I want to thank you I want to thank you, Dr. Rima, for the introduction. It's an honor to be part of this gathering of experts and to represent JFDA and to share their success story to the audience. First, let me highlight some points. In Jordan, we have a well-established industry, pharmaceutical industry, since 1960s. And the Jordan FDA was established in the year 2003. We have now, till 2024, 33 manufacturing sites, pharmaceutical manufacturing sites accredited, and a similar number for medical devices manufacturers. The number of registered drugs at Jordan FDA is 8,788, in which 52% of these drugs are local products. So I think the numbers talk by themselves when we have 52% local products are registered. So we are empowering and have many initiatives to support the local industry. At the beginning, I think that the spark for this was coronavirus and the pandemics, in which we realized the importance of self-reliance. Also, we have royal visions in Jordan regarding economy. So, GFDA, as an authority responsible for the security of drugs and food, we took this vision and worked on it with our partners. Of course, we always sitting on the same table and discussing every point that an initiative that will secure the drug without violating our cornerstones, safety, efficacy, and quality, and I will add to them affordability of the drug. Any initiatives is adopted by JFDA and our partners. So at JFDA, we have special initiatives for local products or special measures adopted for local products. First of all, they have the priority in manufacturing site accreditation. Also, any new manufacturing site get the priority to register the first 10 files, submit and register, and we will study them as a priority line. We have a separate track for local products for studying these files. Also, now we are working on achieving maturity level 3, WHO maturity level. Also, we have different international recognitions, which we will highlight in the last session. All of these recognitions will support the local industry and make the approvals, Jordan approvals, have a high recognition in other countries. Another point also, when we look at the chain from the beginning, we need also to afford raw materials. So we have one manufacturing site at Jordan, manufacturing raw materials. Another step after manufacturing also, we have lab testing. So we have also published new guidelines, which will we highlight also in the last session, in which we have accredited labs for testing of manufacturing products. Oh. And we are open, always we are open for any initiative that will support local industry.
This is very good news. Thank you, Dr. Sawsan, for sharing. They just told me we have 5 minutes, so I will try to merge the question into others, and I think we need to end also the session with some recommendations. So I'll go for a question. I'll start with Dr. Rawya, then I will ask for each of you if you have any comment or to add a recommendation. So Dr. Rawya, from your presentation, you mentioned something very interesting about the regulatory framework in the GCC region, especially for the biological and the biosimilar, that some countries, they already have their mature regulation, others are just starting with it. From your experience, as representing the pharma industry, can you share what's the regulatory framework in the region, in the GCC region, that are supporting the localization and the biosimilar localization in specific?
So when it comes to the regulations, the biosimilars, you know that there are guidelines, solid guidelines coming from the EMA and from the WHO. And to simply answer that question, we have to follow those guidelines, because the guidelines in the region are derived from the EMA and the WHO guidelines. EMA guidelines came into place, I remember, in 2006. The US came in 2009. And our guidelines came in our region, country by country, in a sequential way, but they are all based on the EMA guidelines. So you have to have all modules, and especially the clinical one, the phase 1 and the phase 3 clinical
all
trials.
The same in the GCC region, especially as you said, that as Dr. Hanan said, one of the challenges are the clinical part, which different countries request different. So do you think having these similarities, or they based on the EU, it makes things easier on the practical side? It's, I mean, in the theoretical side, the regulation are there, but are they, when they are implemented, they are really supporting your decision in the investment, in the localization as a pharma?
The answer is generally yes, except for some issues. But the answer is yes. Generally, we have clarity about the clinical part when it comes to the biosimilars, except in certain situations, and it happened, yes.
I think, Hanan, I feel, Dr. Hanan, you need to share something that's related to the investment decision in the region, that is related to the localization, the investment in localization as local, representing the local industry in biosimilar in specific. Let's put it this way, because we know that now it's the era of the biosimilar, even biological, it comes directly biosimilar with it on the same level of quality, safety, and even efficacy.
Yeah, first of all, modernization of the registration requirements. It's very important because most of the companies in the Middle East will get technology from outside. Those products might be approved in Europe and US based on not on a full-fledged clinical comparability. So when you receive the dossier, you want to submit that to health authorities in the region. If head-to-head clinical comparability is still required, you won't be able to get the product to the market. So we won't be able to get any licensing from outside the country. This is very important. The second thing, I believe, is having the maturity level 3 that Dr. Sawsan talked about. If the regulatory authority is assessed by WHO as mature regulatory system by getting level 3 at least, or level 4, this means that the regulatory system is in place. It's a good system, functioning well in all functions. In terms of registration, inspection, pharmacovigilance, a lot of functions are assessed. So the best thing regulatory authorities can do for industry is to be mature, to get assessed, and get the maturity level 3 as a minimum. This is very critical and very important. And I think the best attraction for investment in pharmaceutical industry in this part of the world is having people. If you have the talent, then you will be able to attract investors. If you have incentives, it can be tax incentives, it can be to improve competitiveness, like preferred energy cost, or that's very important for investors. Access to finance, make it easier. And when you procure, settle the bill. Even if it's a government, pay for the pharmaceutical products that you buy from the private sector. And I would like, are you going to ask me a question for recommendations? Because I have 2 recommendations. Yes, I have to say. You will save that to the last.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Because
I can't live without saying them.
No. We agree that the recommendation part is the best part. It's like a take-home messages.
Excellent.
That we will keep thinking about it on different level. The authorities, the audience, and there's also the patient, the end user, the most important.
Absolutely.
So, Dr. Sawsan, I'll start with the recommendation from you. We always ask the pharma to give some pharma industry to give some recommendation, and we always say, please, we need a clear regulation, a clear guidance. As an authority, what recommendation do you offer, or do you have in mind that can help to accelerate and to enhance the decision of localization by the pharma industry in general as a regulator?
The main recommendation is adopting harmonization, regional harmonization and international recognition. I hear this recommendation in every gathering but I wish to see it in reality. The efforts will not be duplicated by the authorities, and the recognition will be within the regional countries or internationally. So I think this is the main recommendation that I wish to see in reality, not only words.
I'll go with Dr. Hanan and we'll end with Dr. Rawya.
Thank you. With the word harmonization, it's been said in the morning frequently, and it's the dream. And the dream, I can describe it as IGBA does. It's single global development. One dossier that can make it to the market in each and every regulatory authority. And my second takeaway is, again, it's quote from IGBA, it's IP in the right dose. Yes, so IP should be balanced and should be in the right dose. Those are my two recommendations as takeaway, and we can take actions and follow up to make this happen, because they are crucial to foster pharmaceutical industry and localization. Thank you.
Dr. Rawya?
For me, because I was speaking about the biosimilars.
Some very interesting recommendation inside the presentation that were very practical.
Yes, so biosimilars, they are inevitable. They are critical. We need to have them in our region. There's no escape for that. So we need to combine efforts. I mean, the industry and the health authorities in different countries in order to avail that. We're talking about drug security, drug sustainability. Then you have to have biosimilars because of the chronic diseases, because of our populations. Otherwise, we will be deprived of the medicine, and this is unfair to the welfare of our population. So it's a necessity.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I took 5 minutes more. It's okay. I'm sorry for that. Thank you, my dear panelists. Thank you, Dr. Rawya. Thank you, Dr. Hanan. Thank you, Dr. Sawsan.
Thank you, Dr. Rima. Thanks a lot. Thank you all for being here today.